Welcome to episode 59 of the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast. I am Stephen Rothberg, one of the co-hosts. I'm the founder of College Recruiter, and regular viewers will see that my background's a little different than it usually is. I am in a tiny little town in northern Minnesota called Knife River, working remotely. Peter, looks like you're in the usual bat cave, the usual bat time.
I'm in the world headquarters, the great world headquarters of the AIM Group. We provide business intelligence for recruitment marketplaces, and we've been doing it for 26 years, all of them based in this one bedroom of my house.
26 years is long enough to know better.
And the next room over has the water view, which is the pool. And it's a lot warmer here than it is there, because here today we're going to hit 28 Celsius or 82 Fahrenheit, and it's colder there, I'll bet you, Stephen. And it's also colder.
We're going to hit about 2 Celsius, which is about 35 Celsius Fahrenheit.
And I bet you it's warmer here as well than it is in Amsterdam. Are you in Amsterdam, or are you actually elsewhere, Jelmer?
I'm in a little town near Amsterdam, near the coast, so more to the coast, and it's way colder here.
Okay, way colder. Jelmer is the co-founder of Roadtrip Analytics, Jelmer Ziudema, and he is going to tell us about why we should use qualitative instead of quantitative analytics. But before we do that, I'm betting lots of our audience doesn't know anything about Roadtrip Analytics.
Yeah.
So why don't you give us the 30-second elevator pitch, or podcast pitch in this case, and then we'll talk about qualitative versus quantitative and what the heck analytics are and why they matter to recruitment sites and job boards.
Perfect. First of all, as Roadtrip agency, we provide analytics to our clients. We provide analytics and insights about recruitment marketing, mainly about career sites, but also about ATS data. We like to combine the two, and that's also where this conversation will be about. And I bet that most people haven't heard of us because we're mainly active in Europe, and this is also one of the first times that we go global.
Well, that's a good thing to do. Analytics, big topic. Boil it down into a couple hundred words, and then Stephen will quiz you extensively.
Boil it down in a couple of words. It's actually insights in what happens on your career site and what happens in your ATS. We know that there's a lot of budget going around to get people on your website, to get people on your job board. What actually happens when people land on your website? There it starts for us. We help a lot of people with advertising too. We mainly do that as a consultancy service. What we do is we look into analytics, we look into the data of what people do, the behavior of candidates on platforms, and we do a narrow check on what can be better in most occasions.
So when you were telling me earlier, as we were kind of like booking you as a guest, that you believe that employers and others in the industry, I'm assuming also, job boards / recruitment marketplaces, programmatic companies, that we should be focusing more on qualitative instead of quantitative analytics. What's the difference between the two? And why do you feel like qualitative, we should be leaning toward that?
What we have seen so far with all of the clients that we have helped within the time span of a Roadtrip agency is that we see that nobody is happy with 1,000 candidates. Nobody's happy with 1,000 applications. What we miss is the next step in the funnel. We want to move towards more qualitative metrics. We want to move further down the funnel, further down the hiring funnel. And we want to use that data for recruitment marketing purposes, not only for reporting, but also for optimizing. So we want to give that information back to the media that are used to spread the word. Job boards, Meta, LinkedIn, anywhere you can post a job. We want to make sure that they know what a qualitative candidate for a company is. We don't want to have 1,000 applications. We want to have one hire in the end.
But how do you judge, and what metrics do you think of as qualitative versus quantitative? Everybody agrees we don't want 1,000 application unless we're hiring 1,200 people or 700 people, high volume hiring. Do you do a podcast about that, Stephen? Yes, you do. Anyway, but everybody agrees that for one position, you want 6, 8, 12, 20 good candidates.
Yeah.
How do you measure in qualitative as opposed to quantitative?
The most important thing is to understand what a company finds qualitative. I can give my opinion, I can give my input, and I would say that everyone who lives through the first phase, so the first phase in an ATS, is actually qualitative. If it's worth to look further into the resume, if it's worth to look further into the letter of motivation, then there is some sort of quality in that candidate, or that candidate shows some sort of quality. Giving that information back to recruitment marketing purposes, we can actually build upon that metric instead of a click or a view or an impression, where most recruitment marketing agencies still get paid for. CPC is still a big thing, and a lot of job boards have tried to go to CPAC models, but in the end, it's about a more qualitative metric. It's about people who are qualitatively enough to hire.
I find this to be very interesting, and I agree with you also that a really good way of measuring is that candidate of quality is, did the employer move them forward in the ATS, right? We received your application. Depending upon their process, that might be, hey, Peter, we want you to take an assessment. It might be, send us these documents. It might be, yeah, I know, it wouldn't be Peter.
Nobody wants anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Your grandkids, yeah, but and I think for a lot of employers that we work with, when they're measuring quality, it's, are we going to have an interview with you, even if it's a 10-minute phone screen, because the recruiter is not going to do any of that unless the candidate meets some minimal level of quality.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, I can't remember exactly the words you use, Jelmer, but something like, moving them forward in the ATS. Is that what you're talking about? Like, we're going to interview you, we're going to assess you?
Exactly. So you have the hiring funnel, and it starts with an application, and the end of it is, of course, a rejection or a hire. And everything in between that is more qualitative than a number in Google Analytics, for example. When people end their session by leaving an application on the website, it's a first step. It's a nod that they are actually interested. But the next phases in the funnel, in the hiring funnel, are even more important for us to tell if a candidate will have any chance of getting to the rejected or offer phase. In that cases, we really want to get that information. We want to take it out of the ATS and we want to use it. We want to use it for LinkedIn in offline conversions. We want to use it for Meta. We want to use it for job boards. We want to make sure that the feedback loop is complete and that we all know that we talk about quality in the same manner. And that's important for job boards, but it's also important for advertising agencies. It's really important that we talk about the same level of quality when we talk about candidates. Otherwise, you will end up with 1,000 candidates when you only need 4 or 5.
And you measure by tracking steps in the funnel, essentially?
Yeah.
Okay. And you do that for how many employers who are clients of yours? Or do you do that on a white label basis for job boards or for ATS?
We can do both. We currently have a few ATSs integrated. So we started out with the biggest well-known by the direct employers. In the Netherlands, we also have a few staffing agencies that use these services. Job boards are the next step. It is, of course, also a valid question if job boards are ready. Not all job boards in the Netherlands are ready. The bigger ones are ready. I know that most of them have a feedback loop and they love to get this information because it also helps them deliver more value. And the more value you deliver, the more budget you will get over time. So it's actually, we're trying to introduce a new metric. That metric is qualitative candidates. And whatever that is for a client or for a direct employer, for a job board, we want to send that back to the one who's getting the budget.
And here comes the pitch. If you want to talk to the job boards, you should be at RecBuzz in Barcelona in April. But we got time for Stephen to ask you one more question, I think, and then we wrap up because we're running out of time.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to me. So like at College Recruiter, we're heavily programmatic. The jobs that we run, millions at any given time, come in feeds. Very few of the employers have the ability to, in real time, tell us, did that click convert into an application? But in the last year, that number has grown rapidly. Yeah. And I can speak for other job boards. It's like, if we know that of these 100 clicks that we sent you, these 20 converted into applications, we can send you more of those and fewer of the ones that didn't. Even better, and I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is what Roadtrip can do. Not just did it convert into an application, but did it move forward? So we get that data from almost none of our customers. We had almost no qualitative data. And if we had that, then we could say of the 20 applications, these 5 are being interviewed. We're going to send you more of those. And is that kind of the pitch that Roadtrip makes?
That's exactly the pitch. And it's the pitch to the job boards, because job boards like it, as you state yourself. But direct employers also like it, because the lesser applications you get, the lesser budget you have to invest. Because in most occasions, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of budget to get 1,000 applications. But if you only needed 5 with the right information, the right feedback loop to the advertiser, that would have saved you a lot of time and a lot of budget. Because what we sometimes forget is that 1,000 candidates cost a lot of money, but also a waste of time of recruiters. It's actually the best way to burn out recruiters, I think. And that's also something that you want to prevent.
Well, we're absolutely in favor of not wasting recruiters' time, but we're totally not in favor of cutting spending at job boards. So you win on half of the battle.
We get more budget from employers who can see that we're delivering quality.
High value.
Yes,
I totally here's
understand
our wallets
that,
like this, and we're going to open our wallet like that. So
yes, I totally understand that. I agree with you. I was being flipped as always. And on that note, Jelmer, I will see you at RecBuzz, I hope.
Will do.
Stephen, I will see you at RecBuzz if you can make it. I understand there are things going on. And it is a pleasure meeting you, Jelmer. Ziudema, I got it close or right?
No, it's perfect.
The only guy who comes after me in the alphabet. And then there's Stephen Rothberg. Nothing more to be said.
Nobody cares.
Have a good morning, afternoon, evening. I'm glad your internet held out.
Yeah, and to the viewers, hang on a second. We have a new video about AIM Group. This should be fun.
That should.
Cheers, Jelmer. Cheers, Peter.
Hey, thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
AIM Group provides global business intelligence services, news and analysis, conferences, and consulting about recruitment marketplaces and classified sites worldwide. We've been at it for 25 years. We've worked with some of the biggest names in the business, and most of them are longtime clients. We publish comprehensive, deep dive reports annually on the leading marketplaces in recruitment, autos, real estate, and general merchandise. We also publish the bi-weekly AIM Group Marketplaces Report. Our newest product is a weekly newsletter on recruitment marketplaces. Check out aimgroup.com to sign up or for more information. Our consulting projects include strategic planning, pricing studies, acquisition identification, and more. Our signature conference is RecBuzz, bringing in about 250 C-level executives, investors, and vendors. At RecBuzz, you get to network with counterparts and key industry experts like nowhere else. The 2024 edition is in Barcelona in April. Sign up at recbuzz.com. We know more about the marketplace industry than anyone else. We've been at it for 25 years after all. Visit us at aimgroup.com for more information or get in touch at info@aimgroup.com. AIM Group provides global business